of the company. Second, there are only two shareholders of this company, that is Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. What has happened right now is that the Enforcement Directorate under the PMLA Act has essentially said that when the searches are basically carried out, the principal officer of the company has to be present. Now that is as per the PMLA Act. Since Mallikarjun Kharge is the single employee of Young Indian, that is the reason why he was asked to be present when the searches were essentially being carried out. That's the latest that is coming in. Just to put this into perspective, going beyond the rhetoric that we are essentially staring at this point in time. On this broadcast, I'm also joined by senior BJP leader, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. I'm also joined by our executive editor, Aishwarya. Mr. Bhatia, as per our sources, there are two things that has basically emerged. One, with regards to this attempt that was made by the Gandhis to deflect. My sources, Mr. Bhatia, say that not a single document has been furnished by the Gandhis to basically indicate that they had taken the decision to that Motilal Vora would be the man who's going to take all calls as far as financial matters are concerned. Secondly, they have not been able to provide any details with regards to any board meeting that could have taken place in the past, in which they had taken the call that financial matters, all decisions would be taken by Motilal Vora. And the third thing, with regards to Mallikarjun Kharge, it turns out that he is the only employee in Young Indian, only CEO, and there are only two shareholders. But once again, Mr. Bhatia, the allegation leveled against the BJP is that you don't want to talk about other core issues that are plaguing the country at this point in time. And that is the reason why you are perhaps training the guns at the Congress party. Union Minister Aparajita Sarangi is joining us on this broadcast. Ms. Sarangi, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. I'm not very sure whether if you have seen the latest information that we are breaking right now with regards to the National Herald's camp. Politics aside, Ms. Sarangi, the question here is that there are some sensational details that are basically emerging at this point in time. Two things as far as Motilal Vora and Mallikarjun Kharge is concerned. We have picked up that as far as Motilal Vora is concerned, not a single document has been furnished by the Gandhis to the Enforcement Directorate saying that Motilal Vora was the person who would be taking all financial decisions of Young Indian as well as AJL. And secondly, Mallikarjun Kharge was summoned only because he's the sole employee of Young Indian.
Quite a news, I would say, and I thank the Republic News channel for having brought it before the nation. I can only say that we are not at all surprised by the news. All the while we knew that Sri Mallikarjun Kharge ji, who created quite a ruckus yesterday when he was summoned by the ED, was the person behind. And now, lo and behold, he is being seen as the chief executive of the Young India Limited. So I think we must all thank the Enforcement Directorate one after the other. All the lies are being, brought before the public and truth is being unraveled. So I think the ED must be complimented and commended for all their endeavors. So let's see what's coming next.
Just one last question that I want to take with you. That constantly you're facing this allegation that your government does not want to talk about other issues, other core issues that the opposition is alleging. You don't want to talk about price rise. You don't want to talk about inflation. You don't want to talk about the decisions that have been taken by the GST Council. And that is the reason why perhaps you're resorting to what they call propaganda politics.
I don't think any Indian would say this, any citizen of the country would say this, that the government of Prime Minister Modi does not want to talk about these basic issues. We are standing for solving various problems confronted by the people day in and day out. lot of hard work is put in, and we are working for the development of all sectors. And as far as the price rises, GST is concerned, let me tell you, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman made a wonderful statement on the floor of the House in both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. But unfortunately, at that point of time, the Congress did not have the courtesy, or rather did not have the inclination to remain in the Lok Sabha and listen to the full statement of Madam Nirmala Sitharaman. They were there half of the time. Some of the people from their side spoke without facts and figures, and then they staged a walkout. So I think Congress is not in a mood at all to solve the issues of the country, to stand by the people. They just want to create a ruckus. They have to oppose Prime Minister Modi. Whatever may come, they need to oppose, because, you know, that's a question of their relevance in the country. They know very well that they are losing ground in the country badly. I would just like to remind everybody who is watching your television channel that 50 Vidhan Sabha elections have been held since 2014 till date in the country, and out of these 50, 41 elections Congress has lost. So this is the state of affairs. So Congress is basically kind of finding its relevance and, you know, trying to show that they also exist. So it's a question of their existence, and that's why these issues we are very much aware of, you know, of the problems being confronted, and we are trying to solve one after the other.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Saraki, for putting this into perspective. Speaking to Republic TV, question here is that there are some very serious issues, and Mr. Alvi, I wouldn't really like to delve into the politics, because I'm coming here to you with some bare facts of the case, and I'm hoping that you would also give me an answer keeping in mind those facts. I'm given to understand, Mr. Alvi, that beyond one company, there are multiple shell companies that have basically come under the scanner. So it's no longer Dotex giving 1 crore rupees, but there are other companies. Secondly, as far as Motilal Vora is concerned, Mr. Alvi, if Motilal Vora was the man who had taken all the calls, then why is it that the Gandhis are not being able to provide a single document showing that the decision was actually taken by Motilal Vora as far as acquisition of properties are concerned? And secondly, with regards to the board meetings, a company would have surely had a board meeting where they would have taken the call. After all, there are only 2 shareholders in Young Indian and 1 single employee.
Your question is over. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Alvi, go ahead. If you've heard.
Hello?
Mr. Alvi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I have already heard
Mr. Alvi,
your
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Please respond.
Hello?
Please respond,
can you
Mr.
hear
Alvi.
me?
We can hear you. We can hear you, Mr. Alvi. Yes, yes,
listen.
Mr. Alvi, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Patiently listen to me. Actually, whatever facts you are giving, how do you know all these? Whether department has given these facts, or who has given these facts? And who will decide what is wrong, what is right? It is only court which will decide what is right. And it is nothing but a propaganda against the Gandhi family. They want to demoralize the Gandhi family and Congress party. They want to finish Congress party. They want to make allegations that Congress party is a corrupt party. It is very unfortunate. Whether it happens
Mr. Alvi,
during...
I'm sorry.
Listen to me.
Mr. Alvi, I'm not in the habit... Mr. Alvi, I'm not in the habit of interrupting, but unfortunately, when you started by asking this question, because I'm the journalist who's got this information, and let me answer this to you, and then you can proceed, Mr. Alvi. As a journalist, it is my duty, it is my right to access, get information, verify those information, and put it out for the public to decide. Now, why is it that the Congress party essentially has a problem with the journalists doing their duty of telling the nation that this is what the facts of the case are? I'm not getting into the politics of it, Mr. Alvi. You and the BJP can continuously go on fighting. But as as a dutiful journalist, it's my job to tell the nation of what's actually happening rather than you shooting down the messenger by saying that who's given you the information. Mr. Alvi, as a journalist, it's my job to hunt for information, and I've done that.
ED doesn't, ED should not disclose anything to any media until and unless things are decided by the court. And I tell you, more than 70% cases being conducted by CBI, court have released them in criminal cases. I remember in Gujarat, 119 persons were arrested, and after 20 years, an entire media that they are the terrorists, they are Atankwad, they have been arrested and were released. So who is responsible for that? Now all media, all channels are propagating against Gandhi family. If they have done anything wrong, they should be arrested. Why? Government is not arresting them. Government should arrest them. If whatever you are saying, this is true. If this is true, whatever you are saying, so why Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are not being arrested? You arrest them. Anybody has to stop you. And you
They're
know
already
what's
out on
happening
bail.
in this. Listen to me. I want to ask you one question only. We have been in power 55 years. And so many governments came to power. Whether any time during any regime it had happened what's happening today. Whether we have done against any minister during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government. It is a democracy. And
So
I'm
what are you
sorry to
suggesting,
say,
Mr. Alvi?
I am suggesting if they have done anything wrong, arrest them. No, don't make any propaganda against
Mr.
them.
Alvi, there is a due procedure. No, one second. Mr. Alvi, please patiently hear me out. Please patiently hear me out.
Have been completed.
Because, Mr. Alvi. No, Mr. Alvi, let me, I would like to stick to facts. And let me give you some more facts. When you say that, why don't you arrest Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi? Now, there is a due procedure that has to be followed. Please hear me out. Investigation takes its own time. I'm sure, Mr. Alvi, you have seen the summon copy that has been sent to your supreme leader. As per the summon copy, the ECIR or the FIR was basically registered this very year. The investigation has only happened after your senior Congress leaders, Mallikarjun Kharge, Mr. Pawan Bansal, they were called in for questioning. And it was natural for the enforcement directorate to call in, not for some sort of a vendetta, but the fact that they are the only shareholders of Young India. So, Mr. Alvi, let's just hear, there are hundreds and thousands of people who are watching you right now, because we have got this information, we're putting it out, and we're giving you the opportunity to respond. But you are constantly going back into the political rhetoric. But why not answer my direct question? That when Mallikarjun Kharge was actually called in for questioning, he said, look here, Parliament is underway, and that's the reason why I was called in for questioning. But why lie to the entire nation? That's not the truth, Mr. Alvi, because what has happened is that as per the PMLA Act, Mr. Alvi, the officer concerned has to be present when the searches are being carried out. Mr. Kharge is the single employee of Young Indian. He is the principal officer of Young Indian. He had the choice of sending someone else in his place. But since Young Indian has only one employee, you were left with no other option, Mr. Alvi.
No, ED can summon him. No problem at all. Whether that you appear before us, this case is pending for last 10, 12 years. And now you are in a hurry that during Parliament session you are asking one important member of Parliament to appear before you. Why? After 1 week this session will be over. So whether you justify it, that ED has summoned him, it is so important, investigation has not been completed so far. You complete your investigation, every day it can't happen. Every day it can't happen. You complete your investigation, go to the court. And suppose, may I ask you, my question is, if, and definitely, court will decide, दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी. Then what will happen? Whether this government, Prime Minister, and these ministers and this ED, they will apologize to Gandhi family. We are sorry for this. What happened when it was our rule? So many corruption cases against us. BJP used to make propaganda against us. You remember what happened?
Okay. Okay,
You remember
okay, Mr.
the decision of the court?
Mr.
Nothing has
Alvi,
happened.
because